creep into our lives and businesses of everyday Americans for the past 100 years. More importantly, the people have allowed this to happen by not getting involved and by simply going through the motions to elect someone just because they have an R or a D next to their name, not because of his character, his stated goals, his past record, or his understanding of the Constitution. Now that people have allowed this to happen, we stand here today awoken to a country that doesn't remind us at all of that country we learned about at school. That is, if you were lucky enough to have been taught about our constitutional republic in school like I was. My speech today, I hope, will give you some guidance concerning what I think we should do about this. Certainly, I think we should oppose Obamacare, the budget deficit, and draconian government-centric programs. But we should also support free market health care, spending within our means without raising taxes or fees, and the wholesale elimination of programs and departments that have run counter to the principles that our nation was founded on. And in doing this, yes, we should attempt to elect good representatives to Congress, but even if we're successful with that goal, and I don't think we have a very good record of it so far, we only have 4 people in Congress and very little power to make the restorative change that this country needs. I submit to you that our power as citizens and our power as a state relies on the 10th Amendment. It says, the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectfully, or to the people. Of course, we know that the scope of powers held by Congress are delegated in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. Everything else remains a power of the state of New Hampshire and the several other states, as well as the people themselves, who are responsible for electing representatives to the state legislature. It is the state legislature that controls which powers are reserved to the people and which will be leveraged by the state. And inherent in the state legislature is the power to stand up to the federal government when the federal government has taken authority it doesn't have, or to prohibit federal overreaches with legislation that defines how New Hampshire will handle possible federal government intrusions. We have done some of this in the last year. For instance, I've been personally involved with several efforts to stop Obamacare with state legislation. Last year, we created an oversight committee that controls whether state officials can or cannot advance any part of Obamacare in the state. I sit on that committee. We also made it illegal for state officials to help enforce Obamacare's mandate that individuals buy insurance. Finally, in a bill I sponsored this year, thank you. Finally, in a bill I sponsored this year that hasn't passed yet, it's alive in the Senate, so you know where to send your letters, we would be telling state officials that they cannot set up a state health insurance exchange, which is the prime mechanism that Obamacare uses to enforce its mandates, taxes, penalties, and other controls. Because of a flaw in the way Obamacare was written, and this is the best part, by not setting up a state exchange along with other states joining us in that effort, we may actually force Congress to reopen the law and amend it, repeal it, or replace it. So let the senators know it's HB 1297. We really need to pass that law. In addition, considering federal plans to use smart meters to force consumers to use less energy, Senator Forsyth and I introduced a bill to prohibit the so-called smart meter gateway devices that read and or control the activity of appliances inside your home. Without a homeowner's decision to opt in, this device cannot be installed if my bill passes. Now, the bill doesn't go all the way and ban smart meters per se, but it does prohibit the problematic component of the device from being installed without your consent. And that bill has passed in the Senate and is alive in the House. So please let the House know that you'd like that one to become law.